Hello guys, welcome to this my channel. We are continuing with Packer series. Here in this Packer series, we have discussed about data source, then we have discussed about the breakpoint, then shell provisioner. So all this kind of provisioners we have already discussed. Let's start with this demo. Here we'll discuss about the Packer variable. So I'll discuss about three types of variables. So one is the local variable, another one is the variable, and one more variable is called path variables. So if you go to the documentation, you can see here it is the path variable. So what is a path variable? Using that path variable, we can avoid using the absolute path, and we can navigate to that file or directory. Suppose in our code we were using here the scripts slash build.sh. We can use that path variable here as well. So here we can use this type of path dot root path variable, paste it here, and then let's save it and validate the backup file. As you can see, the configuration is valid. Other variables are like input variables. So how we can use input variable? So we can define a variable block, and then we can use the name of the variable, and we can pass that value. We can use default, and if we are not passing any default variable, then we have to pass that while running that packer build command. Let's go to our code, copy this section and go to our code. Let's do one thing. I use a variable for this owner. So how we can do that? I will go paste it here, and then I will remove this and then use owner as the variable name, and type will be this list of strings. So list of string. Type of the variable, we can give description of the variable like owner name, and then default value. So the default value will be same, this one. We will use this here. We will have to reference that variable. So how we can do that? The owner, and it will get that value from this default value. Let's save it and do a validate. You can see the configuration is not supported. No, sorry, we have a type mistake. Save it and then so apt get update. Okay, we have mentioned sleep, so it will sleep for 100 seconds. Now try to validate. As you can see, the configuration is valid, so we can use this backup file for building the AMI. Packer, then build, then backup file name, and enter. As you can see, it is spinning up the instance. Source AMI is detected. So how is we detect the source AMI? So we are using variable for owner section, but it is getting the value from here, from this variable owner, the default value is injecting there in this data block. Now the build.sh is copied to the instance. That is how we can use variable. There is another one kind of variable that we can use, that is called local variable. If we go to the documentation, you can see that local variable, and local variable is also called locals. How to define local variables? Let's go to our code and try to define a local variable. So after data block, we can keep locals and instance type, suppose equal to instance type t2 micro. Copy this, paste it here, and now we have to reference the instance type. How we can reference? We can use a local keyword and then we can use instance type. So that is how we can reference local variable. So what is the difference between local variables and the variables? So here the variables, the default value we can override, but in locals we cannot override the default variable. So that is the basic difference between local variables and the input variable. Let's save it and do a validate. Now clear the screen and validate the packer file. As you can see, the configuration is valid. So we can now build that AMI packer build packer file name. And you can see the AMI ID that is fetched using the owner variable. Then after that it is spinning up the instance. The type of the instance, it will be T2 micro. Let's go to the AWS console and validate that one. So if we refresh it, yeah, you can see instance type is T2 micro. Now we can use local variables in Packer. There is another concept of variables, how we can automatically load the variable value into the packer. Here we are providing the default value. If we are not providing the default value, then what will happen? Let's comment this default value and then save it and clear the screen and try to validate. As you can see, there is error called unset variable owner. So use variable must be set have a default value. So we must have a default value, then only we can use that variable. But we don't want to pass that default value here. So how we can inject our variables into the packer? So for that we have one file called autopackerver.html to auto-loaded the variable definition files. So here you can see Packer also has the ability to automatically load one or more variable definition files if they are present. Okay, we already have variable definition, but we don't have that value. So how we can automatically load that value? So for that we have to use a file with this extension. Let's go to our code and create a new file on the r dot autopacker.acl. Okay, let's save it. Now what we will do, we will pass this owner variable value here in this autopacker parts. Let's put this like that, get the value from here, and then here like this. Now if we go to validate the packer file, you can see now the configuration is valid. So the variable value is automatically loaded from this autopacker file. Now we can use this configuration to build that AMI mesh. Now I am not building that AMI mesh. I just wanted to show you like how we can load variable values in Packer automatically. There is another one thing. So we can use another one file to mention our variables there. We don't want to mention in the same main Packer file, and we want to mention all our variables there. So how we can do that? If we go to the documentation, what I will do, I will create a file in my code here and call it suppose packer.acl. So another packer file we can create, and then we can copy our variables there in that file. Let's remove this default. Okay, save it. Now what we will do, we'll again run the validate command. Now you can see the configuration is valid. So what we are doing, we are defining our variables in one of the packer file, then we are loading our variable values from another autopackerverse.acl. Then this is our main packer file.acl. So this is how we can define our variables or to load our variables. Now let's go to, okay, so packer build that the single packer file will not work because we are having two packer.acl file. So what we will use, packer build command and with a dot. Let's try. As you can see, the packer build is started. So that is how we can use variables in packer. Let's wait for some time. Okay, that's all in this video. Do like, subscribe and share the video. I am keeping this code in the GitHub. You can refer GitHub repo. I will post that GitHub repo link into the description. I'll see you in the next video. Thank you.